Yep, we're live.
Right. I'm really fed up with everything being owned by just four companies. I swear to
Yeah,
God.
yeah, the monopoly is crazy.
I am really it's like I just spent like yesterday and today moving files from my Google Drive, my main Google Drive, to a backup Google Drive that I have on another email account that I don't really use that much. It's just I literally just use it as a backup.
Yeah.
Because it's like I had originally heard of this, of Google doing this, I think like about like a year or so ago, and I made some changes to my Google Drive thinking that that would fix the issue. But then something so a couple of years ago, these two authors, these two romance authors were they were collaborating on a novel on Google Drive. And of course, it's a romance novel and it's spicy or whatever. And the AI that Google uses um like flagged their work as pornographic and against terms of service and deleted over 200,000 words.
Oh
Deleted
my
deleted pretty much
fucking
their entire
god.
archive of what they were working on. So so originally the issue was like, oh, well, that's what happens when you share stuff and you get your files to sharing. So I fixed, my files. So just the other day, there was another incident where a Japanese artist had his entire Google account shut down. And mind you, we're not talking about just his Google Drive, but he lost his email, he lost his YouTube, he lost
Yeah,
his
you lose it all.
yeah, you use everything that Google is attached to, you lose it. And he did. Because he was uploading some he was uploading an artwork archive, and the AI immediately flagged his shit and shut his entire thing down. Now,
Oh my fucking god.
yeah. Now, the thing is though, is that I keep hearing contradictory reports that this guy, he specialized in lolicon, which
Oh,
is that shit, pretty
yeah,
much is
that's it.
underage anime porn.
Right.
But but at the same
But were
time,
they 2,000-year-old toddlers? Because
right, yeah, exactly, it's like it's kind of like that thing where it's like drawn lives don't matter,
yes,
because so then I went to Copilot and I asked it, it's like, bitch, what's going on with your brothers over there at Google? you know
right.
um and hold on, because this is going to be
You, you want to go live?
oh, you know what, let's go live because
Okay, hold on.
it's like,
Good morning, everyone. It is what? Oh, it's June 1st. Happy Pride, y'all.
right.
Anyway, yeah, hold on. Let me do this shit real quick. All right. Here we go. Here we go.
Valar Morgulis. Yes, all men must die. But we are not men.
That smirk right there should have led to some hot and heavy sapphic adventures, but they don't listen to me when I tell them how to write shows. That'd have been the hottest pairing in GOP.
Well, hey, no, we need more rape in the series. Oh my goodness. So good morning, Nita.
I'm sorry. Good morning, Daphne. Hey, and we're not related.
No, we're not related. No, but we might be. We might be too much for the AI on Google. Oh my God, there's too much going on. Oh my God. So who's joining us in the chat today? for this harrowing
Okay,
one
so
day.
we got newbies. Hello,
Hello,
good morning.
hello. Good morning, good
And
morning.
we got Joseph.
Hello,
Good morning.
Joseph. Hello. Oh,
And
I'm ready to.
Lou.
Oh, hey, Lou. And Joseph, I'm about ready to send out your commission for House of Bob. So I just had to like.
Rob.
Hi, Rob.
Oh, hello.
Good morning. Good morning. Yes. Oh my God. Yes. I guess.
Hold on, let me get this real quick. It's one of them days.
Okay.
All right, let's go.
Okay. You know what? I'm just going to like just do the intro because it's like I said, I have a long story to tell.
Oh boy. All right, go for it.
So hello everyone. My name is Daphne Lage, and I'm a cartoonist, illustrator, and comic book artist, self-publishing fantasy comics since 1992. I am known for the furry fantasy adventure Tall Tales. There we go. And my medieval fantasy drama, Eagle Raven, Heir of the First Unicorn. Both you can read online at eagleworks.com, EGOWORKS. And if you are following Eagle Raven, volume 3 is on pre-launch right now. The link is in the chat and in the show notes, and I'm committed. We are launching June 15th. So if you're following the adventures of Eagle Raven, volume 3 will be going live on Kickstarter on June 15th. And if you're just catching up or this is the first time, it's not just volume 3, it's volumes 1, 2, and 3 on this campaign, so you can catch up on the entire story. And for those of you who don't know, Eagle Raven, Heir of the First Unicorn, is the story of a unicorn princess exiled into the mortal realm who trains to become a knight, hoping to win a king's favor and save her people. So again, it's on pre-launch, launches June 15th. The link is in the chat and in the show notes. And keeping me company today, and this is keeping me company today is
Nita. No, I've actually been awake because we've already had an emergency situation this morning.
Really?
Wasn't it? Yeah, one of the kittens, but they're fine. They're fine.
Oh, okay. Did they eat something they weren't supposed to?
No, somebody was getting up under feet too much. And
oh no, they got squished.
Yeah, and for a minute I was like, "Oh shit, is this a vet trip?" And then straightened out, and
they're made out of cartilage.
So,
you got to be careful with that. Yeah, that's always it's that, and them like ending up in the dryer without you knowing.
Bruh, I have become a total cat lady.
Yeah, you have to be careful with everything.
Oh my God!
Make sure they're not locked. They don't lock themselves in cabinets or closets. Or
yeah, it's wild.
And you got to baby-proof everything, huh?
I have 5 now, Daphne.
Yeah.
5. Like, what the fuck, man?
Look, I mean, ever since we had to send Captain to Baltimore, we've been having such a mouse problem here that probably when everything settles down with the construction that's going on in the house, we might be getting a cat just to, it's like, it's like just to take care of shit here because I've been doing everything and because Einstein's cage is a veritable buffet. So so it's just like trying to plug up all the holes and like I said, now we're remodeling the bathroom, and then we're going to be remodeling the kitchen afterwards. So everything's just a mess. So it's like after everything settles down, we might be getting a cat of our own because it's like when the cat's away, the mice come out and play. It's like no shit. Like not even
be very careful.
A week. Huh?
Be very careful though.
What?
Make it abundantly clear that you're only asking the kitten distribution for one. For one. Because if you don't specify,
you'll end up with 5. Yeah, that's true.
Yeah.
Oh my goodness. Oh, so where did I leave off on my story? Right. Oh, right.
So, wait, stop. One more thing before you go.
Okay.
Or before you start.
Okay.
Like we've been on here for an hour already.
Yeah, I know, right.
Anyway, so like you're not gonna get Einstein back?
Oh, you mean no, we're not gonna get
Captain
back.
Oh, Captain.
Yeah, Captain.
Well, who am I gonna sleep twist?
Probably whatever new cat we get. No, because what happened is that, so Captain's already acclimated to Lorraine's other cats in the apartment in Baltimore.
Okay, cool.
And plus he's a senior cat now, and Lorraine is better at taking care of it. She'll have the better resources to take care of him than we.
Though.
She'll know, huh?
He's a cute old man.
Right. Yeah. So now he lives with the other old men in Baltimore.
Damn. He's a cuddle buddy, though.
Yeah. Yeah. So, but not even a week. Not even a week, and those motherfuckers were coming out of the walls. Like, really. It's like just having a cat in the house is like the biggest deterrent for mice. Rats, not so much, but that's a whole other story.
Bro, it's crazy. We were just going through my photos from New York, and it's like both fucking trips. I did get some pictures with you and of you and Jose, but like it's mostly me and Captain in bed.
Oh, yeah, of course.
It's like, this is Daphne's cat. This is Daphne's cat flipped over. Look at him on his back.
Yeah, exactly.
Look,
that's how you know
he's
very comfortable with you. Yeah. Oh my God. So like I said, so this guy, 7. It was an experience. I could imagine. So this artist got their whole Google account shut down. And like I said, it's like, according to Reddit, the guy kind of had it coming, but still though, right? So I said, I went to Copilot. It says, what the fuck is going on with your brothers at Google, right? So it turns, so I knew this for a while, that Google was using AI to kind of like keep an eye on everybody's files, like looking for whatever contraband and shit like that. Pretty much, for all we know, they're scraping it for the AI. Like there's nothing really private on Google. But the thing is, though, I was using Google Drive because it is convenient to be able to like upload files and be able to download them everywhere, and storage and backup. And I was mostly using it for backup. And then, but the thing is, though, after this whole incident with the guy, regardless of what type of artwork he was doing, I kind of got spooked again, especially since, after this whole thing with Kickstarter, after, I had an incident with Facebook.
Oh no.
So it's like, Jesus Christ. It's like, so I was looking up on Copilot, because remember, the AI is actually an aggregator and not a creator of anything. Let's not get that twisted. It's literally doing a mathematical equation to predict what you are, to predict what information you are looking for, right?
Yeah.
And so I asked it what was going on at Google, and pretty much it was saying, what I was reading everywhere else, because remember, whatever AI says, you have to double and triple check it. Is that Google scrapes everybody's Google Drives looking for, like mostly like things that are not supposed to be there, illegal stuff, right? But because AI is actually stupid, because it's literal and it has no sense of context or why something exists.
No sense of humor. Nothing.
Right. It's been shutting down a lot of people's accounts just on the fact that it's confusing certain things for other things. And like people who uploaded medical records had their shit shut down. People who have family photos had their shit shut down. A lot of artists, it seems that, well, you see, because the problem is that Google doesn't release any information about this stuff. So people, the only reason we know this is happening is that people have been going public with, hey, Google shut my shit down, because, just like with the 2 authors, it didn't, it flagged what we were writing as against terms of service.
Wow.
And the problem is that, because I was telling Jose,
and this is the back and forth email exchange.
Well, it's reading your emails, it's reading your Google Drives. Pretty much, if you're on Google, you're on the chart somewhere at Google campus. I mean, they're reading.
Yeah.
So, so of course it's like, fuck, so it's like I went into my drive and, so I asked, so pretty much what it is that they're looking for certain keywords and then they're trying to link it to certain imagery. But even then it's like I said, it's very literal with what it's looking for. So, it doesn't sense it doesn't make any context. It has no sense of context as to what it's looking at. It just says, okay, this is the keyword, this is the bad keyword, this is the bad image. I'm deleting your account. And
wow,
just in 2025, Google had removed the option for you to to kind of like fight it.
Yeah.
It's like, no, once we close down your
yeah.
account, contest. Yeah. It's like, once we close it down, that's it. You're done. And like I said, it's like, you don't just lose your Google email, you lose everything that's associated with Google under that account. So, ever since the whole thing with the two writers, I've always been a little concerned because I had House of Bob, I had, Medieval Unicorn Vikings lot, that whole thing, right? So I deleted a lot of that stuff from most of my archive from my main Google, moved it to, like I said, a backup email. So if anything got fishy, at least it's like, it's not that big of a deal. Because I only have that other email as a backup. It's not, and then it's like I had to kind of like, like redo my links. I'm still in the process of redoing links that I had, and and it's just like really, really obnoxious because it's like, it's like, Jesus Christ, it's like, so like I said, I'm a little spooked now because of course we had the thing with Kickstarter, which they were going to essentially shadow ban all the not safe for work stuff, right? And then now Blue Sky is acting up where they're going to put in they're going to pretty much shadow ban anybody that has any not safe for work material on their feed.
And then that's something because that's how they lured everyone over.
Well, right, exactly. It's like, freedom of speech, except, not like that, right? So even if, but the thing is though, they're not like saying, oh, this post is not safe for work. If you have
the whole account,
they're gonna flag it's the same thing like Patreon, where it's like if you have one not safe for work piece, you have to flag your entire thing.
I'm gonna go delete my Blue Sky and start over then.
So so unless the people who are coming to your site already have it set up to see not safe for work stuff, you're not going to get casual people. If the idea is to get people who are just casually browsing to find your stuff, it's not going to be like that anymore unless they have their own account set up to see not safe for work. Although what's really funny about that is that if you're the type of person who has your account already set up to not see not safe for work stuff, you're exactly the type of person that I want you seeing my account. Maybe normies don't need to be seeing my account, but the problem is that it doesn't exactly work like that.
Yeah.
So it's like
creating an advertiser-friendly environment is what's going on.
Right. Yeah, exactly. It's like that's really what it is. It's really not about protecting children. It's about being advertiser friendly. So so it's like a whole thing over on Blue Sky. And then Facebook. I had an incident on Facebook that earned me a red flag. That they flagged my account. And because of that, I cannot stream to Facebook.
Oh my God.
Until the end of June.
Okay.
Right. And it's Steph Wilson's
What the hell did you say? No, what did you say?
It's Steph Wilson's fault.
It's always Steph Wilson's fault.
Yeah. So Steph Wilson had put up a meme where it was a picture of I forgot the news anchor's name. His name was on the tip of my brain and I forgot, but it was one of these like 80s newscasters, and he was smoking on the air, or at least it looked like that he was smoking on the air. Probably it could be that he was smoking between takes, but and then the meme was like back in the day when the news was so whatever that you had to take a drag just to deliver it, it's like, so so I made the joke. It's like, yeah, news so bad right now, people are doing heroin on live TV. Within seconds, I got flagged for that post, and then it flagged my account and then banned me from streaming. But it specifically banned me from streaming, and I go,
which is funny if you weren't even streaming.
That's weird, I mean, it's like that's kind of like a weird punishment, right? And I didn't really think about it. So, but the thing is, though, it didn't affect my main posts because I was able to post about Eagle Raven and a couple of things, and it kind of like got the numbers, it kind of looked normal. So I go, well, that's kind of weird. And then it hit me. The reason why they banned me from streaming was because they took my joke comment literally. The AI read my joke comment as if I was advertising that I was doing heroin live on Facebook.
No, that's me, not you. Damn.
And I had to, and I started laughing when I made that connection, and it's like, you know what? AI is only intelligent to stupid people. Because it's like I had so luckily I was able to contest it, and they had the options. Like, it was a fucking joke. It was just a joke. I mean, it's like, Jesus Christ, if you saw the post I was answering, rule
against it every time.
Well, yeah, I'm not expecting anything because they had like, your account is at risk. So now I have to like really like, lay low until and it's not the first
your manners, Lage.
Right. And it's not the first time that I got flagged for something the AI took literally. Because like about like a year ago, I was talking about how I was watching a video. I think it was Louis Vuitton on their website or something, where they had a video on how to tell the difference between a genuine Louis Vuitton and a fake Louis Vuitton. Right. And they were taking apart the bag, and I was commenting, and I made a comment about it. About, like, oh, this is how you tell the difference between a fake Louis Vuitton and this, that, and the other thing. And the AI flagged me as trying to sell fake Louis Vuitton bags on Facebook. Like, was for real. It's like AI is only intelligent to stupid people, because the fact that each time it's like it's a fucking joke. It's like, and not even, it's a joke.
Dude,
it's just that it has no context. It has no context as what it's looking at. It just says, oh, this document has the word cock in it. Bananated. It's like,
it's gotten so bad. Like, I was reading an article today on MSN. Okay. Yeah. Like, and I'm sitting there and I'm reading the fucking article, and like, it was something I was interested in, but I wasn't liking the way it was worded. Something just felt fucking off about it, right?
Right.
And I'm like, who the fuck even wrote this shit? And I scroll up to the top, fucking AI.
Oh, it had
an AI generated article on MSN, and it's like, holy fucking shit.
Yeah. It's like, right, yeah. And it's like, look, for anybody before anybody gets up my ass, like, oh, isn't it hypocritical for you to use AI when you're against AI? And it's like, look, honey, just because
your enemies.
I'm ambivalent to the Second Amendment doesn't mean I condone someone shooting you in the head. Okay? Right. If everything's a tool, then we use it where it's actually a tool. Well, you see, that's the problem.
No, especially
that's especially the problem. It's because if it's scraping from everybody, and it's like, we live in a country where 60% of the population read at a 5th grade level. You know, so
That's
like I
exactly
said,
what that fucking article felt like too.
yeah, yeah.
Like something I would have written in fucking 3rd or 4th grade.
Right, because that's what it's doing, right? Like I said, I'm constantly fighting. Like when I'm looking for something on with using Copilot, I always have to fight with it, you know, because it's like, you know, the thing is petulant. It really is. It's like it was it was coded by a 5-year-old, or at least a grown ass man with a with a with a 5th grade education. You know, but I mean, and it's like, you know, because it's like, so I was, you know, so I was using it to get information about what the other AIs are doing, you know, and it's like, and I had, you know, and it's like, yeah, it's flagging these certain words, pretty much whatever's going on YouTube, that the way that you have to talk on YouTube, pretty much to be able to stay monetized. That's what's going on everywhere else. It's the same thing with what happened on Kickstarter. What it all boiled down to, that this is the reason why nothing is sexy, everything's spicy.
Yeah.
Right? It's like, be sexy. You can be sexy, but don't be horny. Right? And even then, you have to be spicy. You know, so it's just like this whole thing where it's like, okay, you know, it's like, so I can't use, so Google Drive is not safe for me to use in the way that I had originally wanted it to. Luckily, I do use another cloud service that's so far, you know, they're minding their business essentially. But it's just like it's just like very frustrating. And what they also said, and what Copilot also said, that it's like, look, the better the AI gets, the more of these false flags you're going to see. So pretty much the AI is telling me this is going to get worse. It's like, oh, great, you motherfucker. You know, it's like you know, so so it's like, yeah, you know, and that's the thing too. And it's like, and the only reason I keep leaning towards Copilot is because they've made Google so impossible to use, like Google search.
Yeah.
You know, and it's like, and Bing is a little bit better. That I use Bing as like my main thing, but the, you know, and Copilot is, you know, Microsoft.
Go.
You know, and it's like, you know, so it's like, so everything has to be kind of like double checked and triple checked. Like, it's extra work. Like, remember back in the day that you would just Google something and you would just get to the website you needed and that was it. Now it's like, it has every flavor of friction, you know, in between, you know, what you're typing in and what you're looking for and what you need to get. And it's like, and Copilot is a good aggregator. You know, so I'm able to use Copilot to get around some of the bullshit that the other AIs are doing, you know, so that I can find the information that I want. And like, yeah, it's like using John Connor's Terminator to battle the other Terminator. Yeah, oh my God. That's exactly what it feels like. You know, just like the way that I use a Glaze and Nightshade, which is a different kind of AI, which is a different AI
Daphne.
to protect. Well, oh yeah, Mom's gonna get that. Yeah, we got the bell fixed. We got the bell fixed. So it's like, so it's like that I use Glaze and Nightshade, which is using AI to protect my artwork from AI when I post it online. Like I said, you can't fight City Hall, but you can piss on the steps, right? And even then, that'll still get you a citation.
Well, if I'm getting a citation, I'm dropping it.
You know, so you know, so it's like this whole thing about, holy shit, it's like you really can't take a joke, you know, like AI really can't take a joke, but not in the way like Elon Musk wanted to joke. It's like, no, I'm actually joking. Elon Musk just wants to say the N-word.
Huh.
You know, so you know, so it's like,
and it's true.
You know, I mean, really, it's like the fact that, and that's the thing. It's like, that's the thing that, you know, it's like, oh, it has no sense of context, you know, and it's just like, it's really like so much work having to deal with this nonsense, that it's like people keep telling me it's a tool, but it's like, yeah, it's a hammer that you keep banging your hand with. Sure, it's a tool, but I mean, really, it's like, it's just so frustrating. So it's like, yes, so I can't stream to Facebook until the end of the month. Kickstarter's acting up, Google's acting up, everyone's acting up, and it's like, holy shit, I really do now. All of a sudden, it's like I really do, like feel envious of the old man in the mountain. It's like, you know what? Now I know why you're there. Now I know why the old man in the mountain is on the mountain. Google listed a particular singer who was on a particular event list and had confirmed they would not be appearing based on their statement. Google, he couldn't have, he's dead. Right. Yeah. Like it. No. Yeah. And I've had Google fight me on shit like that too. I was looking up, someone had recently passed, and I was trying to look up some information, and Google got mad. No, I think it was Copilot. I don't remember if it was Google. The Google AI or Copilot got mad at me for spreading rumors that this guy was dead. But this guy was dead. I mean, it's like, what the fuck? What do you want me to say? He's dead.
But do you remember Meredith's obituary?
Oh, right. The early days of AI.
Oh my God. Me and Meredith were a fucking couple. We were hitting it hard and heavy. She's gonna leave me her stuff. And
right. Yeah. No, bro, I mean, that thing like completely made shit up. I mean, it was just like, holy shit. Like, it was just like so ridiculous, And now it's like, it's pretty much, because then it's like so it's like, okay, maybe the news was too fresh. Right. So I waited the next day. And then finally got the AI tweet. It's like, oh yeah, you're right. The guy's dead, right? And I go, like, no shit, right? And then it's like, well, what I was getting conflicting reports as to why they died, and then it's like the AI just said, oh yeah, he was shot and yeah, he was murdered. And I go, no fucking way. But it was really no fucking way, because it turned out the guy just had a heart attack. And I don't know where the AI, where Copilot was getting this.
The AI was trying to make it interesting.
Right. And it's like, no. And it's like, look, and I've had to literally tell, like when I'm looking for stuff like that, it's like, I literally tell it, do not make shit up. It's like, and because I had read some places like, don't use the word hallucination, because it's not hallucinating. It's not a real thing. It's not hallucinating. Yeah, it's just combining random, because it's trying to predict. Again, it's a math equation. It's trying to predict what you want to hear, and not necessarily what's factual. Right. So I had to tell it, don't lie to me. Base this only on facts. Do not make anything up. Do not predict. Just tell me the facts. Like, I would tell it that, just to get the correct information that I was looking for. And the thing is, and it always reminds me, and it's like every time I'm sitting here arguing with these ones and zeros, right? Yeah, it's like you have if you're against AI, it's like I said, it's like I'm ambivalent to the Second Amendment, but it doesn't mean I condone someone shooting you in the head, although some people really do deserve that, but it doesn't mean I condone it. I mean, if it's a tool, then that's what it is, but as a tool, it's shitty. It's really shitty. And it's like, and I have to sit here like John Connor reprogramming the Schwarzenegger Terminator, trying so that I can get what I need, and the thing is, though, it's like they integrate it so much into everything that even if I didn't want to use it, we live in a fucking society, and they're hammering this shit into everything. So there is no not using it, but I can pick and choose where I use it. I use it for data. I do not use it for anything creative.
Right.
You know, and even then, Grammarly runs on AI, but it uses two separate AIs. The main AI, because I had to look this up because I was like really confused, right? So wait a minute. So how does Grammarly work? So Grammarly is an AI program. Now, mind you, just to remind everybody, artificial intelligence is a misnomer. That's not what it is. It's generative tech, because the only reason it got labeled as AI was so that the original researchers who actually made this technology could get funding. Because all of these psychopaths who have all the money wouldn't touch it unless it sounded bigger than it really was. So they had to name it artificial intelligence so that these assholes would give them money to build it. But it's not accurate. It's literally a marketing term. It's not what the technology is. Right?
Right.
So, you know, so it's like, yeah, I forgot my point. It's just the whole thing was just very frustrating. Oh, Grammarly. So I had to look that up. So what Grammarly, like I said, it's a form of generative tech that is run on actual grammar rules. The only information that it's built on is like grammar rules and dictionaries and the Oxford and AP style guide and you know, and those types of things. It's not being built. If you just use Grammarly just as it is, it's not building on what you're writing. It's adjusting your writing to the grammar rules that it's running on. That's why you cannot take it for face value, because it's, you know, because it's like it doesn't, because also another thing it doesn't understand is nuance. Yeah, it doesn't understand context. It doesn't, you know, understand nuance. So, you know, you can't just take it at face value when it says, well, this sentence is grammatically correct. Yeah, but in the context of a story, it doesn't work. So I'm not going to accept these changes. Right. So you have to kind of treat it like that, because now Grammarly has an AI feature, which is this bullshit where it tries to rewrite your stuff to be as generic as possible. You know, and it's taking your words and then flattening them out. Like that's, you know, so the fact that they can list it as two different things shows you that we're talking about two different technologies, right? And you have to know what you're dealing with. You know, with Grammarly, as long as I stick with the main Grammarly, I know what it's running on and why it's telling me what it's telling me, but it's not basing it on my text. It's just running my text like, okay, this is grammatically correct. This is grammatically incorrect, right? But if I use the AI feature, it scrapes my shit. It goes, oh, let's rewrite it. And it's like, no, that's not what I'm asking you to do. So I don't use that. You know, so yeah, we live in a fucking society, right? And yeah, and you know what? We should change society somewhat. So yeah, so until the end of the month, I cannot stream to Facebook because the shit really doesn't know what a joke is.
No, it does not.
And it was a good joke too.
It was an excellent joke.
Yeah. Oh my God. So that's, yeah. So I'm just like, change. So yeah. So now the big thing is me just moving from one Google Drive to a backup Google Drive. And then like, I don't know, just like I said, it's like, I'm really tired of everything being owned by like 4 companies and they're all acting up, you know? And it's like, you know, and yeah, and it's not like, you know, you can't, because it's like Amazon's integrated into everything, Google is integrated into everything, you know, Stripe is integrated into everything. So it's not like you could just like, oh, you know, it's like, yeah, you're going to be living in the mountains, just drawing for yourself, and nobody knows you exist, you know?
Yeah.
You know, send me a pigeon. I'm going to run my Kickstarter through Pigeon, you know?
Raven.
Yeah.
Let's be cool. Let's be cool.
Oh my goodness. What? I mean, is there anything you want to interject before I continue?
No.
You want to take another drag?
Okay.
Right.
Sounds like I need to.
Oh my goodness. So yeah, so for everyone who doesn't know, Kickstarter went back they went back to their original terms of service when it came to like the adult stuff. But they've made it Stripe's problem, which still makes it your problem. It doesn't solve the problem, it just makes it less their problem.
Yeah, no,
because that's the world we live in.
Kickstarter was going to try to change their terms of service to align more with Stripe. Then they decided that they were going to just go back to the way it was, but they apologized for the disruption in service because people were backing and pulling out of Kickstarters.
Yeah,
like they were like, oh shit, we got to go somewhere else, whatever. And they saw that dramatic drop, right? So then they issued their little public apology, which was basically bullshit.
Right,
because it's like we're just going to do the same thing we were always doing,
right? But, so it's like you're telling me that it's like you didn't think anybody was going to leave, because I know that Dan Mendoza, I don't know if he's leaving or he's still going to leave, but he has built his own platform to do his own crowdfunding on his own website. And and it's like, and he is one of the big ones there. Polito left to do his own crowdfunding on his site. Mendoza's going to leave, and there was some question as to, or at least like the initial thing was that he's still working on it, but like the initial thing that he wanted to do was that he wanted to spend about a year testing it on his own books. And then he was going to open it up. Now, the question is that whether he meant it's going to be like an invite only thing, kind of like Zoop, where it's like, oh, we'll invite you in, but it's not like just anybody can come here. Or it's like, if you have an adult project, here's a website that you can now crowdfund without having to worry about it through Mendoza's platform, whatever that is, if he's still going to do it. So it's like they didn't expect that, so, but it still doesn't change the fact that they gave the warning. It's like, look, okay, you can come back. You can have your shit on your adult stuff on Kickstarter. We don't care, but Stripe can still deny your funding at any time. So you can fund, but like I'm still waiting to find out information about this other sketchbook that got their funding denied.
And let me give you a little heads up, guys. So there used to be a loophole that people would play around with on Kickstarter. You create your campaign, you'd let them go check it out, they'd approve it. After you got approved, they go in and change your imagery.
Right? Yeah, exactly.
Don't do that now.
Yeah,
no. Now, you're fucked and banned.
Right. Yeah. It's like, oh, you approve the censor stuff, but then you put the uncensored stuff afterwards. Yeah, no, because Stripe is watching now. Because now Kickstarter is saying this is a Stripe issue. We'll give you the heads up if we know something on your page will violate it. But other than that, like, actually, I don't think they're even doing that anymore. And that's just look, we don't have a problem with it, but good luck with Stripe.
Yeah. Right.
But but it's like it just kind of like gets really tiresome. Like, Nicholas, another personal crowdfunding fight feels familiar. Do any of the creators have enough pull enough to be viable? Well, if it's Mendoza, if it's Dan Mendoza, who's Don, who does Zombie Tramp and Sugar Pop and and all that, like that. I mean, he's buddies with
everybody.
Polito, like he's following in Polito's footsteps. So, I mean, if Mendoza opened up an adult-friendly crowdfunding site, I mean, I would trust it just because it's him.
It would hit, especially in indie circles. So yeah,
right.
maybe.
But we don't know what's happening. So it's not available yet. He hasn't even tried it out yet. I mean, I'm pretty sure for him, because because in the end, it's like you're still talking about moving your audience that's used to pledging on Kickstarter to your own website. Right. And it's like, I know for a fact that I can only imagine how many people, when Polito left, still didn't follow him to his website, for the amount of people that pledged to his campaigns, right? And I'm sure Mendoza's going to lose people because, I don't want to go to your website. I want to stay on. It's like the whole, the whole thing about us trying to drive our audience to our websites, like how many people, even I would question whether I would get the 150 people who you regularly pledge to my campaigns to actually come to my website if I wasn't available on Kickstarter anymore. Like even I question that, whether I would be able to do that, on a much smaller scale, and that's kind of like, and I guess that's a pretty good segue to the topic that I really wanted to talk about. You're not hustling, you're just doing busy work. And that's kind of like the place where I'm at right now. Like, for the longest time, for like a couple of years, I was all about oh yeah, it's the hustle, it's the grind. You got to do marketing. You got to do the research on marketing. You got to do this, you got to do that. So if you want to get ahead, it's like you have to learn marketing and this, that, and the other thing. And then it's like, I think in the past year, I'm like, you know what? At our level, that's all bullshit. We're such small beans as indie creators that 99.9% of any marketing advice that's given out there does not apply to you.
Right.
And it doesn't apply to you because you don't have the money to make it apply to you. You don't have the foundation, the audience foundation to make it apply to you. So it's like you can follow everything Polito does to a T, right? And you will never see the same results that he's seeing. Why? Because what Polito did is what Polito did to work for Polito.
Right.
It's like
everybody's recipe is different.
Right. And not only that, kind of like, watching, keeping an eye on what the AI is actually telling you. When people give advice like that, marketing advice, you really have to double check where that information is coming from.
Yeah.
Because it's like, the Instagram, especially now, and on YouTube, it's very hard for me to find an artist I want to follow on YouTube without them going by my course.
Right.
Kickstarter allows for excitement and hype with limited edition items as add-ons. A website usually just have the book or whatever. I'm a KS ho. Yeah, no, you see, that's the thing. I get that, yep. Right? And I've seen a variation of this happening in the romantasy circles, where it's like they only do Kickstarters for their deluxe special editions. Right? But if you want to buy their regular books, you have to go to their websites. And then even then, it's like, it's like they still sell their stuff on their websites, but I could still see them struggling trying to get people to get to their websites, right? And that's also kind of the part of it, right? About the whole, you're not hustling, you're doing busy work, right? So a lot of the work that we do that's kind of we're told that's marketing, it's like, okay, so somebody like an example, like, I go on YouTube and I follow all these Artist Alley girlies, right? And they're talking about, oh, I made $10,000, I made $60,000 at a convention and this, that, and the other thing, right? And then they're talking about their experience like, oh, if you did this, if you could do this too. If I could do this, you could do this, right? But then you look at the products that they're selling, right? That they've spent a month designing or whatever, a month designing incredibly generic stationery, right? That them and 37 other artists are doing at the same time, right? And and it's like, and they have to change their products literally every couple of weeks because that's how quickly trends come and go.
Right.
And it's like, look, I guess I do actually, because I still have mine.
I have mine too in a prison.
Right. It's like, look, the guy who created Labubu, he created Labubu like 15 years ago. And he had his year and a half of glory, and that's probably it. Like, you can't, he didn't plan for that. It just, sometimes success is just you lucking out. It has nothing to do with planning, and, like all this kind of like marketing, right? Like, what it is? That's what they're claiming to make because no one exaggerates earnings for clout. Oh yeah, and that's the thing too that you have to remember.
I know these artists that talk about sell out every convention,
right? And it's like, but they don't tell you. Oh, they don't tell you that they only brought 2 books. Or whatever.
Or show you the unopened boxes.
Right. Right. And it's like, and that's the thing too. You have to remember, people online are all willing to lie to you. Right, to sell whatever it is that they're selling. So it's like, so somebody's saying, it's like, oh, well, Polito did it, I could do it, right? But then you look at their books, like, well, that's weird because you're not doing TNA books. You're not, your IP is not an IP that's had, that's been running for like 20-25 years, right? It's
like hadn't been on the scene and on the floor of the conventions for 30
right.
years.
It's like you haven't been building this IP like, you have like Polito had a career.
Right.
It's like he had a career that built up to this point. The people say, oh, well, Image did it. It's like, did I miss the part where you spent 10 years on 1 million copies selling IP at Marvel? Did I miss that part? Did I miss that? Also, but even like the smaller people, it's like, oh, all you have to do is just, just post to social media, this, that, the other thing, and you'll become successful. You do it consistently. Oh, and by the way, I forgot to tell you, you have to spend $25,000 on Facebook ads a year. It's like, or it's like, oh, you can, it's like, oh, if you know how to market, you can sell everything. You can sell anything. But the only books that they create are TNA books. Right. They're TNA books. And if you really pay attention, they also use outrage marketing. They go to they just try to start fights with people, or whatever, because it's like, just because that's their marketing. Right. So it's like, wait a minute. So it's like, so what value does this information really have? Especially, and then it's like everybody thinks they're crazy, or it's like, or it's like, well, I'm trying this, I'm doing this, but nothing's happening, right? Art Victim says, I also see a lot of successful art influencers talk about how they operate, but forget the parts about being parent funded. Oh yeah, even if it's from, mommy and daddy, they gave me a loan of $100,000 to start Amazon in my garage. Funded, being parent funded, come from a school with an automatic $2,000 with automatic 2,000 followers from that source. Right, exactly. Right. It's like, those are like the back ends. Also, they don't tell you they have a team. Right. It's like, oh, how it's like they're posting every day and I'm posting every day. It's like, and I don't even have time to do art because I'm posting every day because right, exactly.
It didn't work. It didn't work for me. I posted all my sex tapes all over the internet, and guess what?
Right.
I'm still broke.
Right. So what's happening? Easy, because Polito has a team. He has somebody dedicated. It's like, do you think, like, that's the thing? A lot of these people have teams that they don't talk about. Shit. It's a lot of these writers who say that, oh, you got to work hard and you got to grind and you got to it's like these authors that say that they spend 8, 9, 10 hours a day writing straight. Right, while forgetting to tell people that they have assistants and a wife taking care of everything else so that they can stay holed up in their basement writing, right, that they don't pay bills, they don't have a normie job, it's like, yeah, there's a lot of things that they forget to tell you, right? But it's because you're not working hard enough. Oh, if you just post to Facebook one more time, if you just post to Instagram one more time, that'll be, and it's not. And it's like, but all it is it puts us on this hamster wheel that makes us feel like we're doing something. But it's busy work. It's not creating any momentum whatsoever. Because it's like, so I was listening to Sam last week on Catch the Craze. And he had said that, like, there was one point. Yeah, I know, really. But he works hard. Yeah, it's like, really. All you got to do is just work hard, right? And he was talking about how there was a point where he was posting every day. He was creating original artwork every day to post. And he was doing that for like a year. He was posting, artwork. He was posting, promos, videos, the whole thing. He just spent an entire year, right? Yeah, that's true. It's like they prepare you for they prepare you for a job landscape that doesn't exist. Right. No, it's okay. You're gonna get replaced by AI anyway, right? It's like, really, people killing themselves out here, and and he was saying that, so for the past 3 months, he decided he wasn't going to post anything at all. He had to take a break. He was feeling burnt out, that he was just going to concentrate on working on Cosmic Wars. And yeah, exactly. It's like, he's going to work on Cosmic Wars, and he was just going to concentrate on that. And that's it. He wasn't going to think about, anything else. And what he found was that nobody noticed he wasn't posting. Nobody noticed he wasn't posting. Nobody asked about him. Nobody thought about, hey, where's that guy that was posting every day for the past year? And now I don't see anything from him anymore. It's like, no, because, in the end, this meat grinder of the algorithm, we're just content to that. So it's like, it doesn't mean anything. So once you stop on our level, it doesn't mean anything. We disappear because we're nobodies. Because it's like we don't have a team. We don't have the money to afford a team that's just constantly cranking out content while we're doing the work. Or it's like, kind of like James Patterson and his 1,000 ghostwriters, right? But work harder, right? There is no working. There comes a point where it's like there is no working harder. There's barely even working hard. We work hard on our books, right? Mm-hmm. But everything else, there is no working hard on it, because we don't work on an industrial level. We are because the algorithm, everybody on the internet, people who follow us, they demand, like, random people on the internet demand an industrial level output, but from individual labor. I guess Nita's internet went out. And that's not going to happen. So it's like, so it's like you have a Kickstarter, you post here, you post there. Oh, you're at a convention, you post, but you're not going to blow up by that. You're not going to blow up from that. You know, it's like, I just, you know, because it's like, you don't, it's not just you, it's me, it's, you know, it's us in the indie comic sphere. We're indie comics for a reason. We're micro publishers for a reason, because we don't have the infrastructure that actually pushes up to the next level and keeps us there, to whatever level that we're trying to do. Now, I try having this conversation with Jose, and he always he always makes it sound like he pushes back, saying, oh, so you're saying that we should just quit, that we should just give up. And I go, no, that's not what I'm saying. You know, I'm not saying that, you know, that we should just give up. But the thing is, though, it's like, you better like what you fucking do, because you're going to be working on that thing and pretty much not going anywhere. You know, because again, we don't have the infrastructure to do that. But the thing is, though, that's why what we do has to extend beyond what we think being successful is. Like, there was this video that I had started watching. I have to finish watching it. So this woman, she's an author. She used to do traditional publishing years ago, where she was like she was literally writing to market, that she was just cranking out books according to market trends. And she made good money. You know, she made a 6-figure income for a couple of years just doing that. You know, but what happened was that when she spent, I think, like 5 years doing that. She bought a house or whatever. She established herself financially doing those books. And then she came to a point where it's like, you know, I'm kind of tired of doing these books. I want to finally work on my own books. Right. So she started doing that. And what happened, what she found out very, very quickly, that the people who were buying her to market books did not translate over. Now that she was doing her own fantasy books, her, you know, and she like mildly romantic fantasy books, she found she had to start from zero, because that audience that was big enough to make her a 6-figure income. But then again, she also was working with a major publisher, you know, and again, she was writing specifically to market. She was like, you know, they didn't transfer over at all. So she had to literally start her career from zero on YouTube and like just try to build her audience again. And now she kind of have like, you know, she thinks that, you know, it's like she has like, she's at like modest success, right? Incredibly modest. Like she can sell maybe, you know, like depending on the platform, she can sell 100 books. You know, pretty much she's no different from us, you know. You know, but it's like, you know, and she's training herself to use Instagram. She's training herself to TikTok. But the thing is, though, is that she's not just throwing everything against the wall, right? Because also the other thing that she felt that was frustrating her, right, was that it, you know, like it's kind of like getting that realization that, you know, you're not going to be a Sarah J. Maas or a James Patterson, you know, that this is where you're going to be, kind of like you're going to be, in her case, a mid-list author. And it's like, you know, that's just where you're going to be. You're not a superstar. You're not, you know, you're just going to be in the middle. Right. And a lot of, even, it's like, you know, I went to Monsterotica and I met all like these the independent authors, right? Not one of them is living off of the books that they write, even though they write a shit ton of books. You know, I mean, yeah, a backlist catalog is important, especially important in those circles. But as far as I know, unless they become publishers themselves and are printing other people, which I know one author is doing that, like they have husbands that support them. They have jobs that are actually supporting their work. It's like they go, yeah, it's like they would love to be able to live off of their novels, but that's pie in the sky thinking. And I mean, so it's like, so here we are in the same indie circle, and there just comes a point where it's like, you're grinding, but what is it really getting you? And in the end, it's not really about how much work you're doing, but whether the work you're doing is effective. Because if you're posting every day and you don't see your sales go up, and not only that, the people don't even see that, they don't even notice that you're not posting for 3 months, then that was busy work. That was just something to make you think you're doing something when you're not. I mean, because I'm sure a lot of us have this same feeling that I do, that no matter that's just like, it feels like we're just treading water, and that's what makes the whole thing with Kickstarter and, like the companies, these companies like, oh, we're going to regulate this, we're going to regulate that, oh, you can't do this type of work anymore. Like, it's like, holy shit, it's like, it just feels like not only are we treading water, but it feels like people are putting bricks on our shoulders on top of it, and it's like, and if it wasn't for the fact that I really, really, really like what I do, that I don't know, like, I probably would have been just another roadkill, just another piece of roadkill on the road of indie comics, because that's what I see all the time. I see people that they don't become the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles when it went out the gate, and they go, oh, I'm not going to do this. It's not worth my effort. Right. And, and it's like, and that's what I'm saying. That's like, you really, if anything, right, like, you really need to like what you do. And the thing is, that's what she was talking about, that she likes working on her own stuff. She likes her books. She's a fan of herself first. And I thought that was like an interesting way of putting it, that it's like, here we are struggling to get fans, right? Consistent fans, right? But are you a fan of yourself first? Because she says that, the more we struggle to do this, because it's more of a struggle than a hustle, really. So it's like, if we can't get the external validation at the level that we're desperate for, where it's like, yeah, it's like, then we have to find how, like, how we define success outside of that external validation. Because as long as you feel that your success is only linked to external validation and how many people you can get to buy your stuff and, and whatnot, and especially on our level, you're going to have a hard time. Because it's like, if you don't have the resources and the foundation to really nurture that garden, essentially, and do the work you need to do, it's like, yes, something has to give. And it's like, what I'm noticing a lot of people are doing is like, well, that some people are doing is, it's like, well, what's going to give is my presence online. Because if me posting every day is not changing anything, then why do I need to do it? And that was the thing that I really looked at on my last campaign, that it's like, I really, really pared back like what I did online to promote, and I pretty much got the same results. So it's like, oh, the only thing that made it interesting was the type of posts that I was doing. It didn't change anything, but I just enjoyed making those posts. So at least I was enjoying what I was doing. So it didn't feel as much as like, oh, I gotta go post today. It's more like, oh, it's like I feel like doing a carousel. How can I do this Instagram carousel to make it like really interesting, looking, instead of just putting up like a picture and a post and calling it a day. And and it's like, and I had to kind of like find satisfaction in the work elsewhere, in the marketing, just posting. I had to find satisfaction in that elsewhere, that it's like, oh, at least I had fun putting together the carousel. I had fun putting together the reel. I kind of like, putting together, like, oh, short. I kind of like doing that, and yeah. And it's like, in the end, it's like, that's kind of like where I'm finding myself turning to, finding that satisfaction elsewhere, because, here it is. So Nita says that her power went out. So it's like, yeah, that's, I figured something happened, so, so that's kind of the thing that, that obviously Sam was thinking about, that I was thinking about. And, and what's funny is that like George was really like going, no, I don't do that, because it's like, it's not worth my effort. Like he's very candid about what he doesn't do. Because it's like, like he just like, look, he has, a good paying job. And I guess he doesn't feel that pressure to I guess have to perform marketing. And that's kind of like where like I kind of feel it. It's like we're not doing marketing as much as we're performing marketing. And it's like, that's why it feels like it's not going anywhere, even though we're kind of doing the same thing the big guys do. But again, they have a different infrastructure. They have teams, they have people doing it. They're able, they don't do a lot of, look, they don't even draw or write their own books anymore. You think Polito draws Lady Death? No, he doesn't, let's see. What is it? Martha says, I suspect there's a lot of fake it till you make it being done by laid off people. I worked for this game dev, and that game dev, and that game dev, and now I'm indie. Right. And usually, they don't find the people, like the audience, coming to them because now they're indie. It's like, no, they're still over there with the big game dev that you originally worked for. Like, like there's this game that, speaking of games, like there's this game that I play, Seeds of Chaos. I've been talking about this game for years. Love this game. It's an adult game. And they've also been struggling with the whole thing with the censorship and everything. And they had to move from, well, they still post to Patreon, because Patreon told them, if you don't remove the furry stuff from your game, we're going to ban you from Patreon. You're not allowed to use Patreon. So they didn't want to leave Patreon because that's where they were making most of their money. So if you're on Patreon and that version of the game does not have any of the furry stuff in it. So there's a minotaur, there's a wolf, a werewolf, there's a couple of sea mermaids, the merman. It's a merman. It's a merman, Dad. I'm a merman. It's like, so they had to remove all that content out of the game in order to be compliant with Patreon's rules. Because even though they were furries, essentially, Patreon was saying, no, we're classifying the furry art and we're classifying it as bestiality, so you can't have it there. We don't care about the context. We don't care that they're furries. The context doesn't matter. We're saying you're violating it, and that's it. So they moved, so you can get the full version of their game on Subscribestar now, which they have a Subscribestar Adult, which only specializes in adult projects. The problem is that their audience on Subscribestar is a fraction of what it is on Patreon. So the whole So their audience, and we're talking about people who are their fans supporting them, wouldn't move to subscribe star for them. So they need to continue wasting their time with a censored version of their game just to keep getting the Patreon funds. Because I could imagine, because it's like, because every time, because the thing that they say that the problem with doing the censored version is that it screws up a lot of their coding, because it's not just as easy as just like removing those scenes. So yeah, so they have to waste their time censoring a version of their game because a majority of their audience will not follow them to subscribe star. And that goes back to the whole thing that it's like, well, if I were to say I'm only going to release Eagle Raven on my website from now on, would I still make 150 sales? I don't think so. I really don't. Like those 150 people, they're like, well, if you're not on Kickstarter, I guess I don't want your book anymore. And it's like the same thing with Seeds of Chaos. Like, well, if you're not on Patreon, it's like, or it's like, well, I'd rather stay on Patreon so your censored game doesn't bother me as much. Right. So it's like, so that's the thing, right? So it's like, so in the end, that's the thing. That's why I decided to stop the hustle, because the hustle is fake. And this was especially noticeable yesterday. Yesterday, me and Jose were at a convention. It was a one-day convention. It was nearby, so it wasn't that big of a deal. And I really didn't want to be there. I found being at this convention kind of annoying, because me and Jose were talking. It's like, look, if there was one thing the convention reminded us of, is that Kickstarter, even on its worst day, is a much better value of our time than being at a convention. And mind you, we're talking about sales wise. We met a lot of people there. We met up with some friends there. So it wasn't like completely a drag. But but I think that in terms of like just selling books, that it was like our worst day on Kickstarter makes significantly more money than our best day at a convention. And it's like, so being at a convention, that's busy work, because it's like, it's not really do anything for us. It's like our time was better spent staying at home and setting up the next Kickstarter. But like I said, in the end, it's like we were there anyway. Jose signed up for it. He got the table for free. So we had Oswald's on the table. So it was just mostly Oswald's because it was Jose's table. He was, we didn't sign up for it together. He signed up for it on his own. And then we had 2 copies of Tenchi Muyo, the hardcover that we did the Kickstarter for, the book that we did back in the 90s that Armature Entertainment did the reprint of. So we had 2 of those hardcovers on the table. Do I have to tell you guys which was the book on the table we didn't have to say a word for people to spend $60 on without even thinking about it? So the Tenchi Muyo book was $60. The Oswald trade paperbacks were $25 or 2 for $40. So we had some deals going on, which did work, But we had a harder time selling a $25 book of a character that people didn't know, while the Tenchi Muyo books at $60 just flew off the table. Gone. People just came up, I want that, bought it, gone. We didn't have to do anything for those Tenchi books. They just sold on their own. Yeah, so it's like Loop says that I believe Sam also booked fewer conventions this year. Yeah, he did, because it's like there just comes a point where it's like, especially the older we get, time is a bigger factor than anything else. Time becomes a bigger factor than anything else. When we were younger, it's like, look, me and Jose were doing practically a convention a week. Every weekend we had a convention. We were doing, at the summer season, peak season, we were doing it's like there wasn't a month that didn't go by where we weren't doing a convention. Like, we were doing a convention every week, every weekend. And then it's like, and then it's like on the off season, maybe we would do like 2 conventions, or, like 1, but we were always doing a convention. There wasn't a month that went by where we weren't doing a convention, and we were driving everywhere, it was a whole thing. Right. So it's not like we don't know. Let's see. Lotharens says, my experience with conventions, not necessarily selling, is that what sells 1 year will be ignored the next, and the following con, people's wallets are glued shut. That's true. But here's also the thing, right? I've never had to hesitate on a purchase I wanted. We had people be like absolute weirdos at the table, like not necessarily haggling, but they were like, well, what if I get this and that? And what if I get that and this? But what about this? Can I buy it online? Can I really buy it online? Can I come to your house and pick up the book? It's like, literally, we had one person says, it's like, since you live nearby, can I just come to your house and pick up the book? And I go, Jesus Christ. It's like, are you insane? It's like, who asks that normally? It's like, Jesus, it's like, just buy it if you want it. You're telling me that you would go out of your way to travel to another borough to buy this book directly from our house, but you won't pick it up when it's right in front of you. So it was just like a lot of weird, there was some like really, really weird moments, but like the Tenchi book, nobody haggled. Nobody asked any questions about it. They just says, okay, give me that. I'm going to $60 gone. Right. But the Oswald book, it was just like, oh, I don't know. And this is like, is it good? And so it's like, yeah. So it's like the wallet's shut, but it depends on who they're shutting the wallets for. Yeah. Some people are even more special than the special ones. Yeah. Yeah. So it's like, yeah, like if I want something, I buy it. I don't question it. It's like, so it's like, so the idea that it's like, you have to like, look, here's my pitch, here's the book. And even then it's like, I've never really had anybody I never really needed somebody to pitch to me. I mean, it's like it's like the only time I've done that was to kind of like initiate a conversation, but I was buying the thing anyway. This happened at Monsterotica last year, where there was this author that like, she had a series of books. I was going to buy one anyway. So that sale was good. She had my sale regardless. And she was wearing this shirt that said, ask me about my orc smut. So as a joke, I asked like, oh, so tell me about your orc smut. And she told me about the rest of the series. I was like, oh, it's about this woman who has anxiety and she ends up, and I go, look, just give me all of them. I was going to buy one anyway, but I found it funny. Yeah, I found, it's like just the whole situation funny. So I was like, okay, just give me all 4 of them. And I'm in the process of, they're still on my TBR. So it's like, I have to still read them. But I read the first one. It was enjoyable. I have to read the rest of them. So, but I knew I was going to make that purchase anyway. So like, she wasn't really pitching, as much as I was just, just like, oh, just so it didn't look like I was just coming up, buy a book and then leave. It's just to have like the little interaction, like, oh yeah, just give me this, that, and the other thing. And that was, but like, I didn't need her to really pitch. I was buying the book anyway. And there's plenty of books where like on Kickstarter, I don't even need to read the scroll. give me that book. That's essentially how I ended up buying Nightwolf from the very beginning. I just saw a picture of it. And it's like, I want that book. Give me that book. I'll take that book. Although I have to admit, though, high schooler who finds out he's a werewolf, especially give me that book. But actually, what really did it was the artwork. All I saw was that cover, and it's like, yeah, give me that. Because not only was it like the whole like, what happens to a high schooler who finds out he's a werewolf? It's just like, well, but also you're a werewolf that looks like a furry werewolf. It's like, and that, Rob, I especially appreciated, because, because it's like, because you have Teen Wolf, right? And it's like, and that's not my thing. I don't, it didn't work in that context, but in your context, it worked 100%. It's like, okay, give me that book. It's like, Rob didn't have to pitch to me, even as a Kickstarter. It's like, I didn't even read it. It's like, click, buy, that's it. That's all I needed to do. So that's right, exactly. And that's why the concept didn't work in that context, but in your context it did, because you gave me the werewolf that I wanted. It's like a customer who doesn't have discernment really can't even define why they like or dislike a book. And it's like, it's funny. It's like, that's kind of an interesting thing, because it's like I said, it's like, don't you know what you like? Like when people are struggling, right? And we're not talking about the math, whether it's like, well, it's like, well, I have a budget and I don't know if I want to buy this just yet. Or it's like that the person who was kind of like a little all over the place. It's like, oh, can I just come to your house and pick it up? It's like, it had, I don't know, there was something else going on there, because it's like, look, if you wanted the book, you would have just bought it. It's like, how many things, and mind you, Jose was telling her what the book is about, the age range and this, that, and the other thing, the whole thing. It's like, honey, if you can't see that just by this interaction at a convention that you want the book, then you don't want it. There comes a point where it's like, I'm not fighting you anymore. I'm not pitching to you anymore. Get your shit together. Then how about you get your shit together and then come back and make a decision? I guess the first part of Nicholas's thing, Tenchi Muyo is a massive IP. Of course, it draws more. Right, exactly. Easy peasy, right? A new title is a risk, and there is no established FOMO, prestige, nostalgia, a hell of a drug. Without those title forces, a customer who doesn't have discernment literally can't even define what they like or dislike, why they like or dislike a book. It's that discernment part, because I don't know. It was a very strange experience, and it was just like one or two people who did that. It was just like really odd. But like even going to a convention, it's like, it didn't come off as anxiety. It didn't come up like it was more like fussy to the extreme rather than anxiety. But I guess it could be a manifestation of anxiety. But like, I don't know. It was just like, but again, it was just like, it just got to a point where no level of pitching to her was going to work, and it's like, there just comes a point, it's like, okay, you know what, we're just gonna, you know what, how about you just think about it and come back, and just, leave it at that, and I found, and it's like, look, and it's like, look, I have anxiety. I'm very overwhelmed, and I get very overwhelmed in crowded situations, completely undiagnosed adult onset ADHD, although I don't think it's adult onset at all. So it's like, I understand what's happening, but at the same time, it doesn't mean that I have all the patience in the world for it either. Like there's only like so much I can meet you in the middle, And it's like, yeah, it's like, yeah, sometimes you just have to politely dismiss an indecisive customer, you know? And it's like, yeah, and it's like, and I just don't have like the energy in me to like constantly fight for a sale. And so I don't, although Jose still, he says like, you know what? No, I think that we really should do the show again because it is nearby, except next time we should probably get our own tables because we only had room for Oswald on the table essentially. And the couple of Tenchi books, like, he brought like he had one row. He didn't even bring Magi's Grace. He probably had like a little row of Dreamweavers. And I certainly didn't bring Tall Tales or Eagle Raven there. So, and it's like, and we were just fighting just to sell Oswald, and it's like, and like I said, it's like, I wasn't going to fight, it's like, no, you know what? Buy it. Don't buy it. I don't care. Yeah, it's exactly. Understanding the cause of an issue does not equate to tolerating the resulting behavior. It's true. It's true. Because it's like, it's kind of like with this lady, your anxiety, your fussiness is triggering my anxiety, because it's like, it's triggering a lot of stuff here. But so that's kind of the thing. I think that we have to stop looking at what we do as a hustle and really do try, that's a marketing term by bullshit people online, who are not doing the thing that they're saying that they're doing anyway. And we really do have to narrow our focus to what actually works for us. And on a certain level, do we actually like doing this? It's like I said, I had to change the type of posts that I was doing to actually make posting enjoyable for me. Trying to figure out, new ways of writing about my book, of advertising my book, of making graphics, of telling my story, of getting my story across. And that's kind of the thing. It's like, how do I sound less like I'm selling and more like I'm telling you a story type of thing. So, that's an interesting challenge. So, that entertains me. So once I figure out an ad that I like, then I post it. But I don't say, oh, I got to post every day. I got to post at this time. And I got to do this. And I got to do reels. And I got to say, look, it happens when it happens. All my effort has to be put on finishing my series. That's the most important thing, and it's like, and if I'm at a point where, look, I'm at 12 issues and I pretty much range at around 150 backers and nothing I have done has changed that. So you know what? I'm not going to sweat it anymore. So, so I really don't have time for busy work anymore. I have to do actual work. So I'm not going to perform marketing anymore. If it doesn't work for me on at least an intellectual level, I am very burnt out on marketing. I'm very burnt out on marketing. I'm very burnt out on listening to people say it's all about the marketing and you're just marketing hard enough and this, that, and the other thing. It's like, no, fuck you. You're selling me marketing without even doing what you're saying you're doing anyway. Type of thing. Not you personally. I'm talking about you, the amorphous marketer online. It's like, no, it's like, no. And here's the thing too. If your marketing doesn't get your book to a point that it sells on its own without marketing, then the marketing is not working. The whole part of marketing is to give your books momentum that they sell on their own, which means that you have to have an audience that's engaged enough to do that marketing for you. In the end, it's like that's what real marketing is. That's the real thing. The marketing is just the push. The real momentum is your book essentially selling itself via word of mouth through the audience the marketing produced, right? And it's like, I'm tired of it. Yeah, I'm tired of it. And you know what? I'm okay with not doing it. I'm okay with not concentrating on it. Um, uh, Oh, DreamFox. Oh, this is probably for earlier. Keep wondering how much it would cost to set up a combined messaging service, PayPal, Steam, Patreon, crowdfunding for Not Safe for Work, and if it would be profitable. I have no idea. You would think Not Safe for Work is profitable. Look, Not Safe for Work is profitable. We know that. But I went more on that on my previous show, on my previous vlog, talking about how a lot of these companies are pretending it's a moral issue when it's not. But like I said, I went more into detail on the previous vlog, which is in the archive. If you want to hear my take on that, because yeah, it's not that Not Safe for Work is not profitable. It is very profitable. It's just that these companies are using different excuses, or at least a performative moral excuse to say why they're not going to support it. So, these people online, these people online marketers who are they actually, and why does their babble drivel even matter to you? Have they achieved in your sphere enough to warrant your attention? Well, you see, but that's the thing, right? It's like you get wrapped up in what they're saying because you're so desperate to help, to do something for your campaign, that you don't pay attention. Remember, it's like dealing with the AI. What is the AI telling me? And what happens if I double check with the AI? What do I really find when I double and triple check what the AI is telling me? It's the same thing with these online marketers, right? It's like, oh, just post to Facebook while you're spending $25,000 on Facebook ads. Useless information, useless. Then it's like, had I had paid attention, I would have noticed that. But that's the thing. They do it in a way where, you're not supposed to pay attention to the man behind the curtain is actually doing, right? But so I hope Nita gets her power back on soon enough. So hopefully, but yeah, that's where I'm at right now. Yeah, so I still got to go back to Google and take care of that whole Google thing, and and everything. So I would like to thank everybody in the comments for keeping me company, and for posting your 2 cents in this economy. And mind you, we don't even have pennies anymore. So it's more like $1.25 now with inflation. Thank you so much, everybody, for keeping me company in the chat. Thank you so much for all my beautiful eyeball people watching from regions beyond. I didn't even acknowledge you guys this morning. Sorry for that. But I appreciate every single one of you who has me babbling in the background while you're doing actual work in the foreground. But I am glad to keep you company. I am honored to keep you company either way. So thank you so much. So yeah, and if you're watching this on the replay, hopefully we'll have a more normal. We never have a normal show. You know what? This is what you get. Forget it. I'm not going to apologize for it. This is the type of show that you get. And if you're watching, thank you so much. If you're joining us on the replay, thank you so much. I appreciate every single one of you. And while you're here, make sure you like, share, subscribe, and click that notification bell so you get notified whenever any of our shows go live, because Facebook pooped out on me because, that's how they go. So if you want to learn more about me and my artwork and my campaigns and everything else going on, where's my stuff? You can head on over to my main portfolio site at egoworks.com, EGOWORKS, where you can read Eagle Raven, Heir of the First Unicorn for free. But if you prefer your fantasy to be more of a furry Lord of the Rings adventure, you can follow the link over to Tall Tales, TAILS online.com, and read the archive there of over 1,000 pages. I have 2 issues left to go, but there's still plenty there for you to read and keep you busy. And while you are on the websites, or even right here as well, scan the QR code so you can sign up for my mailing list and get my news directly in your email box. And also you will be getting a free PDF bundle of Eager Raven, Tall Tales, and the Oswald Chronicles to try out for free as well. So just click that QR code or at the websites, and don't forget to sign up there as well. So again, thank you so much, everybody, for joining me today. We had Nita, so hopefully, next time. Thank you, Nita, for joining us until your house decided it didn't want you to be online anymore. So thank you again. And in the words of the ancients, eat your food, moisturize, mind your business, which I wish these companies do, and do the work, because when you actually do the work, you never have to fake any of your accomplishments. Thank you so much again, and we'll see you next time.
Are you not entertained? Are you not entertained? Is this not why you are here?